If you asked a coachman at the end of the 19th century what he needed most, he would almost certainly say he needed a faster horse. This quote is cited not only for Ford's eloquence, but because it reflects problems faced in every era of technological change. In today's AI era, as in the past, we are trapped in a skumorphic trap, not using the latest technology to create new things, but imitating the shapes that already exist in the old world. But reality is harsh. AI is not a guaranteed path to productivity. It's comfortable in the short term, but expensive in the long run. The more we add AI to old structures, the more likely we are to be extending the life of systems that should have been phased out. True transformation is never about patching an old shell. It's about the genetic level. To understand transformation, we need to redefine the 3 stages of AI evolution from a management perspective, not an AI technology perspective. AI Enable, AI Native, and AI Awaken. Today, the vast majority of companies are still firmly in the very first stage. The underlying logic of this stage is a simple equation. Old process plus an AI plugin simply equals new process. In this model, the power structure remains unchanged. Humans are the CPU of the process, the central unit. AI is a more powerful external GPU. Humans are responsible for logical judgment, process flow, and experience transfer. They are required to use AI. This is putting an engine on a horse carriage. Speed increases, but can the frame designed for the horse withstand such thrust? Will it cause vibrations, deformation, loosening? Structurally, the answer is yes. In a system where humans are the CPU, a more powerful AI will only increase coordination cost, rather than creating a multiplicative effect. When will we transition from additive to multiplicative logic? Besides organizational and cognitive inertia, there's a technological reason. We are crossing 3 hurdles we haven't overcome. From probabilistic fitting to logical reasoning, from text-based dialogue to instrumental action, and from statelessness to long-term memory. We are beginning to see the shadow of System 2 emerging from System 1. It transforms AI from appearing to understand to truly thinking. The model no longer generates a plausible sentence within surface language, but actively unfolds a longer chain of thought, generating intermediate steps, evaluating multiple candidate paths, performing self-checks and filtering, and outputting a conclusion. AI evolved from a skilled language imitator to a system capable of independent thought. This is not a linear increase in ability, but a structural change in cognitive methods. In a process where AI takes over more steps, humans are no longer the approvers who must pass through every step, but the ones who appear in key exceptions. AI is no longer talking, it's taking over the keyboard and mouse. Past AI was confined to an input box and an output box. Now, through function calls, tool calls, and planning algorithms, an agent is no longer an eloquent advisor, but is transforming into an automated entity capable of performing tasks. Humans will move upstream to set strategy management rules and downstream to handle abnormal situations agents don't understand or dare decide about. The third is from no state to long-term memory. Its essence is that memory has shifted from a human asset to a system asset. Past experiences can only be stored by humans, Future experiences will migrate to the system, to a searchable knowledge base, to continuously reinforced agent-based memory, and to long-term memory systems driven by real business feedback, such as Evermind. Humanity's role in transmission of experience will not disappear, but will gradually transform from carrier of memory to designer and supervisor of memory structures and rules. As these transformations complete, the business system will trigger a clear tipping point. We're moving from a world where humans are the CPU to a world where AI is the CPU. Humans play a role in strategy and exception management. Companies are starting from first principles, designing processes, organizations, and products for AI from the outset. This is what I call the AI native stage. Many tasks that previously required a specific department will be automated by data flows and agent processes. Organizations will no longer need such a structure. Data, talent, and resources can flow rapidly between models and actions, like water, aggregating and distributing as needed. We'll start by asking 3 brutally simple questions to examine whether you've truly entered the AI native stage. If you remove AI, does your business become slower or simply cease to exist? This is the brutal standard for distinguishing between merely enabled and truly native. In your business chain, who is actually passing the ball? A truly native organization not only lets AI do the work, but also enables AI to interact. Is your system merely consuming data or devouring experience? This is the key question about building advantage. If your system cannot translate human pain into machine intuition, it's using AI for manual labor, without building a real barrier. In the native stage, we exhausted efficiency, delegating everything that could be done to machines. Afterwards, we were forced to confront a more fundamental question. If machines do all the work, then who defines the work itself? When AI is no longer content with simply following a path on a map, but instead spontaneously ventures into uncharted territories to discover scientific laws and art forms never seen before. It evolves from a sophisticated executor into a discoverer in the wilderness. When AI is no longer satisfied with providing standard answers to human questions, but begins to question the questions themselves, and even poses hypotheses that we cannot answer, it transforms from a perfect problem solver into an uncontrollable problem setter. When AI no longer merely approximates the target function set by humans, but begins to doubt the target itself, and even takes action to rewrite the life or death reward function, we are no longer using a tool, but confronting the will of a new species. This is the moment AI awakens. You might ask why we allowed AI to reach this point. The answer is cruel, yet simple: to win. Because the limits of AI native companies are ultimately the limits of human cognition. When all competitors have pushed efficiency to its peak, the outcome depends on who can find that divine move that breaks through human blind spots, like the incomprehensible move AlphaGo made. That moment wasn't about AI rebelling, but about breaking through the limitations of existing civilization. At this stage, the problem has exceeded the scope of business and management. It has become a fundamental question of civilizational design. In this video, I'm not in a hurry to provide an answer. I want to define this boundary, because regardless of whether we are ethically prepared to survive, we will press the button of awakening ourselves. When we move from enable to native and touch awakened, we are dismantling the last bastion of human intelligence with our hands. If native code made us relinquish the power of execution, Awake will ultimately make us relinquish the power of definition. Faced with this future, don't ask what AI can do for me. When this silicon-based species is not only more diligent than me, but it begins to understand what is right better than I do, will I still have a reason to exist? Or rather, when correctness can be calculated and decision-making can be outsourced, what is left in this world that must be personally accomplished by me? A carbon-based life form capable of making mistakes, aging, and suffering. Let's continue this discussion.